We are now on championship case number 4. Of course, as I have said, and I will say this for every video, so as I said for the previous videos, we will be doing a championship case for all 16 playoff drivers. We've already covered Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, and William Byron. Those are in a playlist. Go check that out. And then, of course, today is Kyle Larson. I put the schedule up for this week in the community post. I can't remember the exact order, but I believe the drivers are Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain, Christopher Bell. Once again, check the community post. I always update that schedule in the post, and then if there's any changes, I will update you there as well. But today we are here to talk about Kyle Larson, the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series champion, looking for his second championship. Larson has 2 wins this season, both on short tracks at Richmond and at Martinsville. Larson has the most top 5s in the series this year. He has 10 of them. He has 12 top 10s. He has 3 stage wins, and currently he sits 5th in the regular season standings. This is as of the Indianapolis road course. He's only 11 behind Bell, and he is 28 behind Byron, so theoretically he could get up to 3rd in the regular season standings. The higher you finish up in the regular season standings, if you finish in the top 10 in points, the more bonus points you get, the more playoff points you get. And that's point number 1 of this championship case. Playoff points, get them. There's no such thing as too many of them. I say this for every driver. After what we saw with Harvick in 2020, get as many points as possible. So first goal for Larson, try to finish as high up in the regular season standings as possible. Watkins Glen is up next, and he has won the last 2 races there, so potentially get a win there. That's 5 extra playoff points. So playoff points are going to be a big thing here. Now to look at the playoff schedule, to look at how Larson fares and see how far he will go, to talk about how he can make it to that championship race in Phoenix and how he could potentially lead or win the championship. That first round, I have zero concern for Kyle Larson. He's going to have a points advantage on the cutoff line, and those 3 races are Darlington, Kansas, Bristol. Darlington, he is yet to win at in the Cup Series, but he has contended for wins there forever. It's bound to happen at some point that he's going to win a race there. And then Kansas is the next week. He about won this race in the spring, has run really well there over the past few years. I expect him to be contending for the win once again. And then Bristol, the Bristol night race. He won that race a couple of years ago, runs really well at Bristol. This first round, I have zero concern for Larson. The only thing I'm going to say is don't make a mistake. Last year, he got eliminated in this next round, the round of 12. And it was a mistake that ended up costing them in that round at the Roval. So, but yeah, I'm not concerned in that first round. Second round's a little tricky. Texas, Talladega, Roval. Texas, they did a tire test over the summer, so hopefully the tire situation is better. If it is a more normal race, Larson, remember, he won at Texas. He swept the Texas races in 2021, but that was the old generation of car. Last season at the All-Star race, he blew out a tire, and in the fall was such a crap fest. I don't remember how he did, honestly. But we haven't had a real great sample size for Texas with the next-gen car because of all the tire issues. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen, but it is a mile and a half. I expect JGR to be good there, but I also expect Larson to be good there. I would say top 10 is a possibility for sure. We'll see how Hendrick does. Hendrick's been a little bit inconsistent as of late, but if they can bring some speed there, some speed like they showed earlier in the season at Vegas, like at Kansas, then they should be fine. They should run really well in that race, top 10 at worst, honestly. Then there's Talladega. Kyle Larson is not a good super speedway racer. I honestly think even he would say that. For some reason, the super speedways just aren't his thing. But he's kept it more clean than he usually does in the next-gen car. I think that gives him a little bit better of an opportunity, reduces the risk just a bit, but I'm still concerned about it. This is the round I'm most concerned about. With Talladega being there, Texas you don't really know what's going to happen. And then the Roval. Kyle Larson's a good road course racer. He's won the last 2 Watkins Glen races, as I said. He's won at the Charlotte Roval before back in 2021. He's won at Sonoma. He's won a lot of road course races as of the last couple of years. He's won a road course race in the next-gen car. but he cannot do what he did last year and make a mistake and slap the wall and break a toe link. He has to finish this race, especially with Talladega in there. Even if he survives, I still think it's going to be a close points battle on the cut line. And if he does good at Texas, if he ends up doing good at Talladega, then he should be fine for the Roval. But realistically, I think Texas, you have to look at the top 10 at worst. Talladega, survival, hope other playoff guys wreck if you wreck. And then the Roval, just do your thing. You're going to run top 10, maybe even top 5. Probably top 5 if we're being brutally honest. You should be fine there. Just do not make a mistake again. And I really think they should be able to advance out of this round. But once again, this is the wild card round. And yeah, it'll be tricky. This is going to be a tricky round to get out of, but I do believe Larson can get out of it. With a solid performance at Texas and Talladega just being so unpredictable, I think Larson can put a good enough performance at Texas in the Roval and have enough chaos behind him happen to advance. Then the round of 8, I really like this round of 8 for Larson. Las Vegas Motor Speedway is a track he's been good at since he's arrived at Hendrick. He has a win there. And then since the next-gen car, he's been in contention for the win 2 out of the 3 races. That third one he kind of got intentionally wrecked at last year. But last spring, he finished second in that race. And then this spring, he finished second in the race, but he led a good 50 to 60 laps, was in contention for the win, was in position to win before a late caution. So Kyle Larson, very good at Las Vegas, will indeed, I think, be in contention for the win there. And if he doesn't win there, let's say he finishes second to, like William Byron. Okay, he does that again. So what? Look at the next race. Homestead Miami Speedway. Boy, let me tell you what he did to the field last year at Homestead. He annihilated them. He led over 200 laps maybe of the 267. I don't know if that's a fact, but he led a lot of laps. And one of the most dominant performances on an oval we've seen in the next-gen car. Kyle Larson absolutely obliterated everyone. That's one of his best racetracks. He loves that track. He runs the wall at that track. That's what he's known for. These first 2 races, he honestly made score so many stage points, run top 5. It's very possible he could win these first 2 races, but that he has a pretty solid points buffer going into Martinsville. And prior to this year, I would have said he needed to do that because prior to this year, Martinsville's never really been his strength. For some reason, Martinsville and Kyle Larson has never clicked, and I don't know why. I think he ran top 5 in this race last fall when it was kind of chaotic with the strategies there. But then this year, he won at Martinsville. Yeah, SHR dominated that race. I think Preece and Briscoe led over 100 laps each. But Larson got himself in position, drove a clean race, drove well, and won at Martinsville. So Kyle Larson has either been in contention or won at all 3 of these tracks in the next-gen car. I think if he gets to this round, he's got a very good case to get into the championship 4. He should be a favorite to make the championship 4 at that point. I know Truex is having a better year. I know, Byron, Hamlin, they're having better years. But just where those tracks are, those 3 tracks, and how Larson's run there, if Larson gets to that round of 8, it would be a massive disappointment if he didn't make the championship 4. These are all 3 tracks he should be in contention for the win at. 2 of them he should lead a ton of laps at. So I would expect Larson to be in contention for the win at Vegas and Homestead for sure. And if he can do what he did in the spring at Martinsville, I like him in the championship 4. Then there's the championship 4. Did you know Kyle Larson has led 624 laps this season? 201 of those 624 laps led this season were at Phoenix Raceway. That's right. The most recent trip to Phoenix in the NASCAR Cup Series this spring, Kyle Larson dominated. He did not win the race, no. There was some strategy played out, some late race cautions that happened. So he ended up finishing second, I want to say. He was top 5. But Kyle Larson, he led the most laps that race. I think he swept the stages. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But he was extremely strong. Arguably the best car that day. If he can replicate that performance, it's possible. And then there's also the case where the top 3 championship contenders wreck and Larson just has to make it to lap 2 because this championship format's a crapshoot. But on a serious note, I think Kyle Larson's going to be strong there again. If he shows that speed that he showed in the spring, he's going to be one of the top favorites I know there's only 4 guys, so the top favorites would be 1 and 2, but if they can bring that speed again, they will be the favorite, and it'll just come down to what happens with cautions and whatnot because it's a single race format. But that's the championship case for Kyle Larson. To sum it up, first round, he's going to be fine. Second round, don't make mistakes and survive. That third round, if you can get there, you should make it because you're going to have winning speed. In that championship race, if you just bring what you did in the spring, obviously, advance it a little bit, upgrade it a bit. But if you can show that speed again, dominate again, we could be looking at a 2-time champion in Kyle Larson. Thank you for watching again. We've got 12 more of these things to go. I think tomorrow's Kyle Busch, maybe. Once again, check the schedule in the post. Thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to making all of these. I always enjoy this series every year. We've been doing it for a few years now, so thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.